Hi there. Hope you have a fantastic day today. This lesson, I will teach you how to find definite integrations involving trig functions. Of course, there is a PDF file versions on the description below for you to download so you can work with me. Otherwise, let's go straight into it. First one. So we need to evaluate the integrations of cos of 2x from 0 to power 8. So first of all, we need to integrate cos first. To integrate cos, we know that integrate cos will give us sine. So that is equal to sine of the angle, that is 2x. And then we differentiate. So differentiate 2x will give us 2. So therefore, we divide it by 2. And then divided by 2 is exactly the same as a half of sine of 2x. And this is actually from 0 pi over 8. So now what I do is I just substitute x is equal to power a and x equal to 0. So that is equal to a half sine of 2x. But x is pi over 8. So that is times by pi over 8 minus a half sine of 2x. So x is 0 in this case. So 2 times 0 will give me 0. And now I just need to evaluate. Before I do that, I need to simplify first. Okay. So now what I do, I just write this down. A half sine of, now we know that 2 over 8 is 1 over 4. So therefore that is pi over 4. So I write this down. Sine of pi over 4. And we know that sine of 0 will give me 0. Otherwise, you can just put that on a calculator. Sine of 0, you should get a 0. So therefore, that's it. So minus 0 if you like. So now what we do, we need to evaluate sine of pi over 4. Sine pi over 4 for exact value will give me 1 over root 2. So if you don't know how to work it out, of course, on the description below, there is a video for you to learn how to do them. Otherwise, you can also put that on a calculator. So let me just show you how to put that on a calculator to find the exact value of sine pi over 4. So first of all, we need to convert the degree into radian mode first. So to do this, so you go shift, setup, and when we go to radian, because it's pi over 4 is radian form. So we choose options 4. So that is radian form. So now what I do, I just go sine of pi over 4. So shift pi and I put the fractions button and 4. And don't forget, we need to get out and close brackets. So there you go. So give me an irrational number. So remember, if I square an irrational number, should give us a rational number. So if I square this, so there you go. I press SD button. So sine square of pi over 4 equal 1 over 2. So therefore, if I square root both sides, so therefore sine of pi over 4 will give me square root 1 over square root 2. But square root 1 is 1. So square root 2 will leave in exact. So 1 over square root 2. So that will give me equal to 1 over 2 times by square root 1 is 1 over square root 2 and minus 0. Okay, so we ignore that. So then that will give me, let me just move this up, is equal to 1 times 1, give me 1, and 2 times root 2 is equal to 2 root 2. So there you go. But then we can simplify this by rationalize the denominator. So what we do, we just times by root 2 down the bottom, we times root 2 on the top. So that will give me equal to square root of 2, and we have root 2 times root 2 will give me 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So there you go. Part B. So first of all, we need to know that integrate sec square will give us 10. So the 6 is a constant. We just write this down. So integrate sec square will give us 10. So 10 of the angle. So in this case, the angle is 3x. And now we just need to divide by the differentiations of the angle. So we differentiate 3x will give us 3. So we divide by 3. Okay, keep that in mind. So divide this by 3. So this is from 0 to pi over 9. So what I do now is I just simplify this first. So it makes it easier. So 6 and 3 both can divide by 3. So that give me 1, that give me 3. So now this is equal to 3 tan of 3x from 0 to pi over 9. So now we just substitute pi over 9 in and minus 3 tan of 0, right? Or I can take the 3 out because 3 is a constant. You don't have to, but I can just take it out. But sometimes it makes it easier, that's all. So I can just take the 3 out if I like. So I can also work like that. So tan 3x. And from 0 to pi over 9. So now what I do, I just substitute pi over 9 in. So that will give me equal to 3 bracket tan of 3 times pi over 9. And we minus tan of 3 times 0. So there you go. So what I do now is I just simplify one more step before I evaluate, okay? So that is equal to 3 tan of, so what I do, I just go this, you cancel this, that give me 3. So that is pi over 3 minus, so this one here is equal to 0. So that is tan of 0. So there you go. So now we know that tan of 0 will give us 0. Otherwise, you can just put that on a calculator. So that is 0. So now that will give us 3 times tan of pi over 3. So now we just need to evaluate tan of pi over 3. So to work it out, first of all, we know that tan pi over 3 is square root 3 because tan of 60 degrees is pi over 3. Otherwise, of course, you can put that on a calculator. So let me just show you one more time how to work out tan of pi over 3 by using calculator. But first of all, your calculator must be on radian form because tan of pi over 3, so pi over 3 is in radian form. So if your calculator is not on radian form, you press shift, you press setup, and then you go radian, that is options 4 in this case here. See, now it's in radian form. So I just go tan of pi over 3, shift, pi, fractions 3. And we can just get out this and close the brackets. So there you go. It gives us an irrational number. So if we squared an irrational number, it gives us rational number. Let me just square this. So there you go. So tan squared pi over 3 is equal to 3. So but we want tan pi over 3. So we square root both sides. So therefore tan pi over 3 will give me square root of 3. So that will give me 3 square root of 3. So there you go. Please pause the video and try this one yourself. Hi there, I'm back. How did you go? So let me go through them with you, okay? Before I do that, please do not forget to give me a thumb up and subscribe if you haven't done so you can help me to grow my channel. So let's get into it. First of all, we need to integrate sine. So we know that integrate sine will give us negative cos. So that is equal to negative cos of the angle x over 3. And then we need to divide by the differentiations of the angle. So we differentiate x over 3. So x over 3, let me just write this down. Y is x over 3. So this is exactly the same as a third of x, if you like. So we differentiate that. So y dash will give us a third. So therefore we divide by a third. But then divide by third is exactly the same as time by, we flip the fraction, a third becomes 3 over 1. So we time by 3 over 1 instead of divide by third. Okay, they're the same. So time by 3 over 1. I just write the bracket here so it makes it easy to read. So there you go. Now let me just write this down completely. So from 0 to pi. So what I do now is I just simplify this before I do substitutions. So then we go 3 times negative 1. So that gives us negative 3. So that becomes negative 3 cos of x over 3. And then this is from 0 to pi. I can take negative out to make it easier for substitutions. Otherwise, you can leave as it is and substitute and evaluate straight away if you like. But let me just take negative 3 out, so it makes it easier. That's all. You don't have to, but easier, simpler if you like. So that cos of x over 3, 0, pi. So now I just substitute the angle pi from 0 to pi. Okay, so let me just move this up a bit. So that will give me negative 3 cos of pi over 3, because we use from pi. So that's x over 3 becomes pi over 3. Let me just clear this. So pi over 3, and minus, we substitute the 0 in, cos of 0 over 3. And we know that cos of 0 over 3, 0 over 3 is 0. And we know that cos of 0 is 1. Okay, otherwise, you can just put that in a calculator. So this give me 1, because cos 0 is 1. Now, we can just write it down. Negative 3. Now, cos of power 3 is a half. Otherwise, you can always use calculator. So let me just show you how again. So first of all, we need to know that our calculator must be in radian form. So if you're not in a radian form, I'll show you how to get into it. So you go Shift, Setup, and then choose radian. So this is option 4, okay, radian. So option 4. And now what you do, you just go cos of pi over 3. And we just close the brackets. So there you go, it's 0.5. If I press the SD button, give me a half. So cos of power 3 is a half. So that is a half. And we minus 1. So there you go. Now I'll just evaluate. So I just put that on a calculator. So I press negative 3, brackets, 1 over 2, and then we minus 1. So there you go, 3 over 2. If I press the SD button, it gives us 1.5. So we can write equal 1.5, or we can write 1.5. So there you go. Part B. So first of all, 2 is a constant. So let me just write this down. So 2. And now if we integrate cos, will give us sine. So let me just write sine of the angle, that is 4x. Now we just divide it by the differentiation of the angle. So differentiate 4x will give me 4. So now I just divide this by 4. And all the ways from pi over 8 to pi. Okay, keep that in mind. So now before I do anything, first of all, I need to simplify this first. Let's make it easier, that's all. So I can just divide both top and the bottom by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is exactly the same as sine of 4x over 2 all the ways from pi over 8 to pi. So now what I do, I can take a half out, okay? Makes it easier. Or you can write this way. Let me just move this up. So this can be written as like this. A half sine of 4x from pi over 8 to pi. And just easier, that's all for substitutions. So now I just either can take a half out, or I leave as it is. I just substitute pi in and pi over 8. So let's just do it straight away, okay? So that becomes a half sine of 4x, but x is pi, so we just substitute that in. So 4 times pi is 4 pi. And then we minus a half sine of 4 times pi over 8. So that would give me, so sine of 4 pi, it give me 0. Okay, otherwise you can just put down a calculator. Make sure your calculator in radian mode. So now what you get is negative sine of 4 pi over 8. I can also simplify this. This becomes 2. So let me just rewrite this. So that is equal to negative 1 over 2 sine of pi over 2. And we know that sine of pi over 2, that is 90 degrees. So sine of 90 degrees or pi over 2 is equal to 1. So negative a half times 1 is negative half. Otherwise, we can just put on the calculator. And since my calculator is already in radian form, so what I do, I just go sine straight away, shift pi over 2, and then close the brackets. It should give me 1. So there you go. So that is equal to negative a half times 1. So that would give me negative 1 over 2. So there you go. And I hope you got all of them correct. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.